Hello everyone, my name is Nur Sofia Ain binti Matsani. So to start us off, our group is going to talk about the economic impacts of aging populations. This is something that's becoming a big issue in a lot of countries because people are living longer and at the same time, birth rates are going down. That combination changes a lot about how the economy works and it creates challenges in areas like healthcare, pensions, the workforce and government spending. We'll be going through a few main points together today, starting with rising healthcare and pension costs. So let's dive into that first. All right. So I will start right away about the rising cost of healthcare and pension costs. As we know, as more people retire and live longer, governments have to spend more on medical services and pension payments. This puts a lot of pressure on public finances, especially when there are fewer young people working and paying taxes. From a Keynesian perspective, this kind of government spending can actually boost demand in the short term, especially in sectors like healthcare. But over time, if the spending keeps growing and growing, it could lead to higher deficits and debt. As an example, Germany's 2012 pension reform, women born after 1951 had their retirement age raised, which led to a 2.9% increase in outpatient healthcare costs for women aged 60 to 62. Still, the overall fiscal outcome was positive. However, classical economists would argue for cutting spending or raising taxes to balance things out. But that could make things harder for elderly people who depend on public support. So I think the bigger issue is with fewer people working, how can economists keep up with this rising costs? That leads nicely into the next part, how aging affects labor force participation and productivity. Maybe Tejapin can take it from here.
Hi. So hi everyone, my name is Teh Siping. Let's talk about the labor force and productivity on economy impact. An aging population can have significant economic impact on work. As the working age population shrink, it slow down economic growth. This also affect areas like investment, capital formation, and overall productivity. In this presentation, I will focus on three key impacts. First, the reduced labor force. Second, wage and labor market effects. And third, the impact on productivity. So let's begin. As more people retire, and fewer young individuals enter the job market, our workforce begins to shrink. This lead to labor shortage, especially in essential sector like healthcare, transportation, and public safety, with which heavily on a steady supply of worker. This shortage can slow down productivity and economy. At the same time, with more retirees and fewer worker, the dependency and ratio increase. This means fewer people are supporting elderly individual, putting pressure on service like healthcare and pension, and increasing the burden on the population. Besides that, as the labor force shrink, fewer workers are available to fill position. This shortage can drive wage out as companies compete to attract and retain employees. While this may sound positive for workers, which can increase costs for businesses, especially in labor-intensive industries, making it harder for them to stay competitive. So, while higher wage and automation can bring the shortage benefits, that may also create imbalance in the job market and raise concern about inequality and job security. From that, as a teenage productivity can decline due to health-related issues, older workers may face physical or cognitive challenge that reduce their efficiency and increase absenteeism. This can affect overall output, especially in physically demanding or fast-paced jobs. However, with fewer young skilled workers entering the workforce, there may be a shortage of innovation and adaptivity, slow down the adoption of new technologies and work practice, which are key drive of productivity growth. At the same time, businesses may need to spend more training, healthcare benefit, or workplace accommodation, which can also slower productivity in the long run. That's all for me.
Hello guys, I'm Saksham. I'm here to represent about saving and consumption patterns. Saving behavior, it refers to how individuals and households allocate a portion of their income for future use instead of spending it immediately. And other one, consumption pattern, it describes the trends and habits in how people spend their money on goods and services. Saving and consumption over the cycle, and it impacts on economic conditions. So how saving and consumption change over a personal life cycle, like student works retires, people typically save during their working years and use up saving during retirement, like in inflation, recession and uncertainty, interest rate, employment levels, and saving consumption. Trends in saving and consumption, global trends like developed versus developed countries, case study like US and in US, India, and China, and the COVID pandemic effects. It will show consistent a mix of text a mix of text, social factors, economic factors, psychological factor like risk preferences.
I will focus on government spending in response to an aging population. As the world ages faster, government spending on healthcare, pension, and social security is rising. This is reflected on not only in increased funding for pensions and healthcare, but also in emerging areas such as smart retirement and digital healthcare. For example, some countries like Singapore actively promote the construction of digital medical system to improve the efficiency of medical treatment for the elderly and reduce the waste of medical resources. Um, Other countries have invested in high quality old age care facilities, improve the quality of life of the elderly and reducing the burden of long-term care. Government spending on the elderly is not only a short-term financial burden, but also a strategic input for social stability and fairness in the future. Through these expenditures, the government can promote social innovation and service system transformation while ensuring the quality of life of the elderly and alleviate the impact of aging on the economy. Okay, that's all from my part.
Kim Tae-woo, and I'm gonna talk about the policy responses to demographic aging. Demographic aging is not only a problem for developed countries, it's a growing concern across the developing countries too. We can see how developed countries are trying to change their policy for coping with an aging society. Next, please. First method is raising the retirement age. In Singapore, the government has changed laws allowing workers to be employed up to the age of 70 by 2030. Other developed countries are also trying to change the retirement age for retaining skilled workers and reducing the government's financial pressure. Next one, please. Second method is changing immigration policy. In Japan, where almost 30% of the population is over 65, the government has introduced a new visa policy to attract more foreign labor forces and fulfill the labor shortage. Next one, please. Last one is reforming the pension system. The South Korean government has recently increased the pension tax rate by 13% because of the concerns of running out of funds within 30 years. This reform can make the pension system more sustainable. Here's our conclusion. Aging populations are a global phenomenon. It makes the country serious burden for straining governmental finances and labor markets. However, it can offer an opportunity through policy, which adapts for aging society. For example, reforming pension system, encouraging longer working age, adopting inclusive immigration policies, and technological progress can help sustainable economic growth. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.